All right, good morning, everyone. So my name is Jennifer Rouet, and I am the coordinator of the Exercise Science for Health and Performance program. So today I'm going to be going over two different postgraduate programs that are in the School of Justice and Fitness. This one, the Exercise Science, as well as the Nutrition for Sport Performance program. So I'll give you a little bit information on both. I'm not sure exactly which one people are here for in particular, but I'll talk about the one that I know the best first. And then we also have a current student in the program who's just going to share her experience so far over the last 2 months. And then I'll also be talking about some of the features of where our graduates are at. So in terms of this program, basically it is now in its 10th year. I can't believe it. I don't know how I got that old, but I've been here for 10 years in this program as faculty. And we designed it because we found that people graduate their kin degrees, their phys ed degrees, their human kinetic degrees, and it sometimes doesn't mean that much. They don't know what to do. For myself, unless you were going in to get your teaching degree, which is what kind of everyone did, there wasn't really a next step. So we created this program because everyone has great theoretical knowledge coming out of their bachelor degree, but we wanted to give people some of those hands-on skills that they really need to get meaningful careers in this industry. So we focus on, helping you work with either high performance athletes, or the other half of the program is really designed to work with people who maybe have clinical conditions that need the work of someone with more knowledge and skills above, say, a personal trainer. So we are classified as a postgraduate certificate. So everyone in the program must have an undergraduate degree. And it's just a 1-year program, so 8 months on campus. And so these are just the admission requirements here. So you do need to have a bachelor degree in exercise science, human kinetics, kinesiology, phys ed, life sciences, any sort of science background. And the main courses that I personally look for, if people don't quite have these degrees, I'll look for people who have anatomy and human physiology, or the big ones that will help you sort of have success in the program, because those are areas we don't sort of go back and teach. We assume that everyone's coming to us with that anatomy, physiology background. And then we do also require proof of English proficiency to be able to be successful in this program. Due to placements and interactions with clients, we do just require proficient English language speaking and writing. But if you don't have one of these degrees, like I said, we do accept people on sort of individual basis who maybe have different backgrounds. I actually had 2 students 1 year with bachelors in classical music, but who had a deep knowledge, affinity, desire to be in the health and sort of exercise profession. So while they didn't have the anatomy, physiology background, they really wanted to take the program. So all they had to do, they did have a bachelor degree, so they just had to go do, I think they did a summer course at a local university to get that anatomy, physiology, so that they were then able to take the program. So we do accept people with some different backgrounds sometimes, and we ensure their success in the program. So what does this course look like? So it is 2 terms. So the way Niagara College works for majority of programs is we are on what's called a 7-1-7 schedule. So in the fall term, you have your courses for 7 weeks, you have a break week, and then you have your courses for another 7 weeks. And then we flip terms in January. And then the same one thing, 7 weeks of your courses, a 1-week winter break in late February, early March, depending on how the year falls, and then another 7 weeks. So we start just after Labor Day and we wrap up normally April 20th-ish, around there. So this is what the breakdown of the courses look like for your Exercise Science for Health and Performance program. So we have your fall term and your winter term. Fall term is really focused on working with the general population as well as more of your high performance athlete type of population. So you learn how to communicate, work on behavior change in those populations, some training techniques to work with them, advanced exercise prescription and fitness assessment. where we go into, really in-depth VO2 max, lactate testing, things that you may have seen in your undergrad, but may have not got to actually learn how to do or do yourself. So every student in the program is required to do every one of the assessments themselves and learn how to do it on their peers. And then there's occupational testing, which is where the students learn how to work with certain occupations, say firefighters, police officers, border services, how to do their entry to occupation fitness requirements, as well as some ergonomic type of assessments. And then you'll have your first placement. So each term you will have a 75-hour field placement where you are required to go out, and we have a full-time placement supervisor who helps you set these up for you. But you go out and you actually start getting that experiential learning and putting your skills to practice. Then we go to the winter term, and this is, like I said, where you focus more on the clinical special population. So this could still be athletes, but maybe an athlete with asthma, which is a very common one in athletic populations. So because they have that exercise induced or that asthma, they fall under a clinical population. So they would have to work with someone with the skills from a program like this. So those are sort of the things that we focus on in the winter term. So how do we prescribe differently for that type of population? Assessments. We also have a few different classes in terms of advanced nutrition, injury prevention. So this is taught by a sports doctor, comes in and really teaches corrective exercise, how you work with someone who maybe is either recovering from an ACL injury or someone who's trying to prevent injury as they get into high-level sports. Final course is called career prep. It's sort of a get you ready for life after school. So learning all the certifications that are available to you, learning how to apply for jobs, make your portfolio, create a presence on social media. It's a really great course that sets you up for success the day after you graduate. And then your second field placement, so another 75 hours. For field placement, you are given Mondays off completely from class through the whole school year. This may or may not be when you actually have placement, depending on where you go, but we do sort of give you that day and that opportunity to try to get those placement hours. So just a few highlights of the exercise science program. We do have some relatively new fitness facilities, always getting new equipment, which is fantastic. I try to stay on top of all of the industry standards in terms of VO2 max testing type of equipment. We just got a new high-level in-body body composition scanning machine. We have resting metabolic equipment, so we can actually, there's a lab where I try to make my students sleep, and they actually are going to get their true resting metabolic rate, which is really cool to have. So we really try to have the equipment that you may get to use in your future career. So you can add that, be like, oh yeah, like I did that in school, I have that on my resume. You can really get hands-on experience with that equipment. We have the 2 placements is another thing that's, we really value at Niagara College, that experiential learning. So we have those 2 field placements, and they're built into the program. So there are some other schools where they do their field placement at the end of the school year. So you finish courses in April, and then May, June, you're doing your field placement. We embedded it into the program. So that day the program's done and you get certified, you are ready to start your career and not have to then do some more schooling. Another program highlight is we really try to set our students up for success in a few different certifications, but the main one is the clinical exercise physiologist certification. So myself and another faculty are instructor examiners. So by having that right at Niagara College, we are able to offer our students in-house exams and get them certified pretty much the day after the program ends. We do our certifications and they are ready to get hired right away. So that's something that we pride ourselves in, getting that high level of certification for our students. And then we also set people up for if they want to do their strength and conditioning specialist, their kinesiology, registered kinesiology, or some personal trainer level type of exams as well. In terms of experiential learning, so I talked about the field placements, and this is really where we try to provide you with a hands-on opportunity where you can practice and reflect on what you're learning in the course and actually put it into sort of your field learning experiences for yourself. So we have students, for example, working with our varsity athletes, either as strength conditioning type of position or athletic therapy position. So in class, they're learning how to do these things, and then they go and they can actually practice, reflect, come back, ask questions. It's a little bit limited right now due to COVID. Hopefully in winter it'll pick up, but normally our lab where we do our fitness assessment for class is open on evenings and weekends for high performance athletes to come in. I've worked with Canadian Olympic wrestling team. They've come in and I've done all of their lactate testing in the past. So it's a really great opportunity for the students to be like, okay, I just learned the lactate test. Now I'm going to have an Olympic wrestler come in and I'm going to be doing theirs. So it's really getting that hands-on experiential learning experience. Last year, I guess it would have been 2 years ago now due to COVID, but in the past, we have actually got to visit our Canadian force bases. And this will come up again when I talk about some job opportunities, but they are a big employer of our graduates. So we got to go to the forces and actually learn the fitness assessments and that our high level tactical force teams get to go through. So again, just putting that sort of experiential learning into the program is something that we pride ourselves on. Things like virtual dementia training, other sort of virtual experiences are available as well. So this is just a couple pictures of the lab situation. So we have our own, this is not the school gym, this is our own teaching lab. So we have our own resistance training and fitness assessment lab where you spend a good portion of your coursework in the labs getting that hands-on experience. So you're not learning about fitness assessments in a lecture hall, you're in the lab actually doing them. Same with your advanced training techniques. You are sitting on the floor of a resistance training lab, getting that experience working on those types of things. So this is a lab that's purely devoted for this program. And then these are some images of some of these, experiential learning things that I was talking about. So, this was us at the Canadian Force facility in Camp Borden. Our students got to go learn all the assessments they do there. We've gone to different strength and conditioning facilities and gotten actual hands-on experience working with athletes there. The virtual learning, so we've done things like virtual dementia. This is actually a virtual experience going into the human body, learning about glucose regulation. Just a lot of different, really hands-on experience that the students get in the labs. And we pride ourselves on keeping very small class sizes. So regardless of how big the program is, labs are always capped at 10 people. So it really allows for very hands-on learning in the lab, unlike some other, facilities where, they have larger lab sizes, which does sort of limit your ability to actually engage in all the assessments. So we keep it small lab sizes so that all the students get to actually do the assessments and do them on their peers. Just some opportunities outside of the program to really help beef up your resume, get involved. We have, this is a Canada-wide thing, the Exercise is Medicine movement, actually worldwide, but we are part of that. We have a Niagara College chapter. So Exercise is Medicine, a lot of our students get involved in this sort of extracurricular thing to add to their resume. It's a great thing to be involved in. All right, so I now want to ask two of our current students to just sort of share their experience on, how it's been the first 2 months of the course. So Stephanie, if you want to go first.
Sure. So hello and good morning, everyone here and watching from home. My name is Stephanie Dirk, and I have a Bachelor of Kinesiology from Brock University and 12 years experience working in rehabilitative exercise and physiotherapy. I'm a current exercise science for health and performance graduate student here at Niagara College. As class representative of the ESHP program, I would love to share my experiences with you about the program and about Niagara College. So aside from loving the Niagara region and wanting to move back, choosing Niagara College for my graduate studies was an easy choice. I remember when both my husband and sister-in-law were here in the computer science program years ago and how much they enjoyed their Niagara College experience. I have watched both of them flourish in their careers and thrive thanks to their education here at Niagara College, making my decision easier. I had been contemplating continuing higher education for several years while working in the field, and Niagara College's exercise science program hit all the requirements for me. So it's a 1-year intensive program, so it wasn't a huge time commitment. As well, with a prerequisite of a bachelor's degree, I knew that I would be able to build on my kinesiology degree instead of starting in a brand new direction, and meet and network with other like-minded individuals and professionals. Being able to graduate and challenge right away immediately several professional registrations that Jen already mentioned, including CSEP exercise physiologist, personal trainer, registered kin, strength and conditioning coach, and functional movement screener, just to name a few, greatly appealed to me and my career progression. The field placement was a big draw as well. We get to complete 75 hours each term, where we get to build practical hours and experience with options to work in high performance centers, fitness centers, sport specific strength and conditioning, public health schools, so many options. I've been hearing great stories from my classmates about their placement. So from there, employment opportunities and experience and future job references seemed invaluable and a luxury that I hadn't had during my undergraduate education. So why do I love being an Niagara College student? So the number one reason is that I think class is really fun in this program. I know that may sound unrealistic to some people, but I genuinely look forward to the cool things that we get to do. We complete all the fitness assessments on ourselves and on our classmates. We run industry bona fide occupational fitness tests and practice counseling, motivational interviewing, and recently we even had some interesting and knowledgeable guest lecturers that Jen brought in. Both the Niagara College campuses are gorgeous, especially this time of year. I spend most of my time in the athletic center, where I get to have class in beautiful gyms, the resistance labs that she showed, and use the advanced fitness assessment lab that Jen talked about as well. The hands-on experience I get each day in class provides me with more opportunities to practice practical skills and testing that I may have only seen once or maybe only in a textbook during my undergraduate degree. So that was a big plus. I love the small class sizes and learning environment. Our class has less than 30 people in the whole program, as well as whenever we're in lab, there's only 9 or 10 of us. So there's a good student to professor ratio that's great for learning and for networking. I greatly appreciate how Jennifer, the program coordinator, and the other professors and staff developed this program specifically to help challenge the clinical exercise physiologist certification. They thought about what you would need to be a well-rounded professional and clinician, no matter what direction you chose to pursue. But specifically before attending Niagara College and this program, that professional certification felt daunting and overwhelming. But now the program has given me the confidence, the tools, the practical hands-on experience to fully prepare and achieve that goal by the end of the school year. I'm also grateful for the assignments and projects that are directly applicable to real-world case studies, and I've even started accumulating examples and completed projects for my professional portfolio to show to future employers when interviewing, which is something I didn't really get a whole lot of in my undergrad. So I feel supported at Niagara College, from the program coordinator through to the ladies serving me coffee in the morning, down to the, everyone I pass in the hallway. I can tell that underneath their masks, they're all smiling and they're all there for you. They're all there for the students. All my professors know me and all my classmates by name, by first name. and are all invested in helping us discover what we are interested in pursuing post-graduation. They care and are invested in all of us doing well, and they're not trying to trick us. They want us to do well. Our professors are diligent in answering emails. They often stay late after class to answer questions or discuss lecture content, or even personal interests within the field. They provide detailed rubrics. So everything that is required in an assignment is clear and expectations are set, so we know what we're doing. Professors often record extra video information or lectures in addition to the in-person learning. And professors are not only knowledgeable academics, but they also all of them have experience working in the field, or they continue to work in the field, which I value. Niagara College also has or hosts multiple workshops a week or in a month in many career building skills like resume writing, interview skills, and hosts many job fairs and employment opportunities throughout the term. So I am also thankful that our program, at least at the moment, the exercise science program is, hold on one second. There we go. My other screen had something on it. So I'm very thankful that our program is on campus at the moment, and I look forward to when all the other students can return to in-person learning in January. During these unprecedented times, Niagara College has provided safe and clean work areas and lecture halls and labs, and they have even supplied our entire class with multiple masks and face shields and visors to make sure that we as students have the appropriate personal protective equipment while we are on campus learning. So in closing, choosing Niagara College and the Exercise Science for Health and Performance program has been the most logical step for my career, and is where I need to be right now for my future. So thank you for listening, and enjoy the rest of your open house presentations.
Thank you. All right, next.
All right, how are you guys doing? My name is Madiu Shava. I do apologize, I did arrive a little bit late. My link wasn't working, but I'm currently a student with Niagara College for the Exercise Science for Health and Promotion program. I'll give you a little bit of context about myself. I currently do have an undergraduate degree in kinesiology, and I did obtain that from the University of Lethbridge in 2019. My interest in sport and health performance was kind of cultivated just from my upbringing. I've always kind of been surrounded by sport and fitness promotion. I grew up playing football and wrestling, and I found that as I got older and started to go in more senior positions, such as being captain or helping assist with coaching, I found that I really found an interest in the instruction and facilitation of health and sport performance. So that's what led me to get my undergraduate degree in kinesiology. And one thing that I found after completing my undergraduate is I had the knowledge, but I really wanted to get a good understanding of what that would look like for myself as an independent professional and in a workplace setting. And so one thing I know I wanted to do is I wanted to be involved in coaching athletes, but also working with the general public around fitness promotion. But I'm a big proponent of education, academic backed information to give to the public. And I wanted to understand how would that look like in a structured setting? What tools would I use? What resources would I need to go to? And how would I be able to make my clients feel as comfortable and in the best hands as possible? And I chose Niagara College specifically because it helped me continue with my education. I think a big thing students often struggle with is, they often know what they want to do with their education, but they don't know what it looks like to be in that position. And what Niagara College offered was a practical setting, which really geared me towards the program. I wanted to understand what it would be like to be in a position to challenge myself in various environments. I wanted to put myself in a position to have resources to use multiple tools. And with the exercise science for health and performance. It's a program that provides all these tools. As Stephanie and Jen have mentioned, this is a very hands-on program. It's a smaller program, which is great. I love it because you're surrounded by a small group of individuals who all come from a similar background in fitness, but all have a different understanding from their perspective. So you're able to build a relationship with them during the semester, learn the tools with them, but you're also in close proximity with the instructor who already understands that everyone has the understanding. They just want to bring it all together to make it look good. And what is great is instructors such as Jen and others, what they're doing is they're helping you build that portfolio. They know that you have an interest in this program, and what they want to do is they want to help you be as successful as possible when you do go into your career. And that's why I chose Niagara College. I also love the Niagara region just because of the opportunity. There's a lot of close cities close by, a lot of individuals, a lot of opportunity, which is why I made the move all the way from Western Alberta all the way to Ontario. And I love being a student at Niagara College because it's a student life, but it's a small town life. Like I said, you're surrounded by a small classroom, so you are able to build relationships with your peers. But because you have so much contact time with your instructors, you're able to build that relationship with them, ask them questions, and as Steph mentioned before, they're always available for you as well. Another good thing I love about being a student in Niagara College is all the easy access that it provides for students. Obviously, with COVID being essentially a barrier for most individuals, it has been tough, especially for our program in fitness promotion, where our program requires us to be face-to-face with individuals. But Niagara College has helped us work around that by providing different avenues for us to get that practical experience for all individuals. For our placement opportunities, there have been some individuals who are able to get face-to-face interactions in a practical setting. They're also able to uptake other opportunities through virtual learning. They're able to take trips. And these are some of these stories that I've heard from other peers while being in the program as well. Another thing too is one thing I wanted to make sure is that I had the academic background to be able to facilitate the information I need for the general public. And what the Niagara College Exercise Science for Health and Promotion does is it establishes that path for you. As Steph mentioned before, two of our instructors, they help facilitate getting your certification for a clinical exercise physiologist. So to know that you're taking all the prerequisites that you need to be successful for that certification, it helps myself, I know that for sure, and for individuals around to feel supported, they feel comfortable, they feel like they have right direction, and to know that I can actually go to an actual instructor for the clinical exercise physiologist certification makes me feel good to know that I'm in the right hands. So I honestly feel like it was a great opportunity for myself to get outside of my comfort zone, to go to a part of Canada that I'm not familiar to, but to know that I'm being supported by individuals in a small group setting for the best success. So thank you so much for listening to me, and I'll hand it right back over to Jen.
All right, thank you both very much for sharing your experience. So we're going to go on just some career opportunities, and then I'll feature where some of our graduates are at now. So as I mentioned, the Canadian Armed Forces, it's been a very interesting development of a relationship. But in the second year of the program, one of the stories I'm going to share, he applied for this job in the forces, and he's like, I don't know, Jen, like, should I take it? It's all the way in like, I don't know, Flin Flon, Manitoba or something. And I was like, Jordan, 6 months, like, just give it a shot. If it doesn't work out, 10 years later, he's now a manager and runs the entire Western division of the Canadian Armed Forces fitness area. But since then, they have seen him, and then another student got hired and seen them. And now whenever a position comes up, they come directly to me saying, Jen, do you have anybody first. We want one of your graduates. So we've developed this amazing relationship with them. And when you think of the forces, you're not getting deployed and going, you are a civilian working at a base within Canada. That being said, however, you can choose to go to deployment. So I have a student from a couple years ago who just got back from 6 months in Latvia, working with our troops there, putting them through their fitness facilities. So it's an amazing opportunity, and I'm really great we've developed that relationship. So that's one career path. And they have strength conditioning specialists. They have more the exercise, sort of working with injured troops that need the corrective exercise. So there's a bunch of different levels within their organization where our students end up. Some other common places, hospital settings, if you want to get into more the clinical, cardiac rehab, that type of thing, there's opportunities there. Working within municipal regions, I personally came before Niagara from working at the City of Hamilton as the Director of Health and Wellness for the city. So that's something that, working for a city and having this knowledge, that's something you can do if you're not maybe interested in the training aspect. Occupational testing companies. We have a couple students currently from last year's class that work for FETC, which is the Fire Testing Institute in Ontario. So anyone who's wanting to become a firefighter goes to FETC to get their assessment done. So a couple of our students work there. Corporate type of wellness. We have some students, I'd say at least one a year, who actually end up opening their own private facility. So if you're in the Niagara region, Iron Performance Center run by Matrix Ferreira, he was a graduate of our program. There's some in Mississauga, Owen Sound. We have a number of graduates who have actually opened facilities, which is amazing. Others that just go into rehab side of things, athletic therapy, sports institutes. Tyler from a couple years ago works at the Academy of Basketball Training in Orangeville. So he is, if you follow Canadian basketball, this Orangeville Prep basketball team, they are basically, they're going to be going to potentially the NBA or high-level NCAA type of basketball. So he is their strength conditioning coach. We have a student from last year who is the assistant strength conditioning coach for the Edmonton Elks, so CFL team. So lots of great opportunities for the career options. If you want to go high level performance athletes, if you want to work in corporate, if you want to work in private practice, there's a lot of career opportunities available for you. All right, and last thing I'll talk about this program before we get into the sports nutrition program is just some of these grads and just a few features. This is up on the website, so I won't read these all out to you, but there's just a few that I wanted to point out who just sort of have some different backgrounds. So Taylor Thiessen, he actually just came in to do a lecture for us a couple weeks ago in our exercise prescription class. He is a Niagara, Brock grad, knew what he wanted, had a full-time job already, but knew that he wanted to bring more to it. So he was working at the Brock Performance Center in a certain position. He's like, I want more, I want to move up. So he actually was able to keep that position, come do the program, and is now the lead strength conditioning high performance coach for a number of the teams there and runs the whole Brock Performance Sports Center. So a great sort of example of, when you can actually do this program and still work full time. You're a little bit crazy probably, but it's doable. But he knew what he wanted. He knew he just needed that little bit of edge to help him get exactly where he needed to be. Took the program, and it allowed him to really just get exactly what he wanted. So that's one example of someone. And he also became certified as a CEP, clinical exercise physiologist, as well as a strength and conditioning coach during his program. Another example, Carolina, she has an amazing job. She trains an OHL team in Ottawa, kind of a big deal. So she knew what she wanted. She's a female athlete who opportunities aren't always available for some female athletes, and she wanted to get involved in hockey. That's her passion. So she worked hard. She started at the Canadian Strength Institute, and has been able to work with NFL, NHL, CFL, and OHL high-level athletes, as well as high school athletes going into those positions. So working on their scouting for the OHL team in Ottawa. Another example of sort of where people can go. So Nick was a graduate in 2014, 2015. He right away ended up going to Calgary and getting a job at the University of Calgary. He has since moved into a whole bunch of different positions, but he works in their sort of fitness facility. So not necessarily in the athletic facility, but he's pretty much just training all the trainers that work at the University of Calgary. So he is the head personal training coordinator. And then on the side, he had a swimming background. He really wanted to combine his passion for swimming with his new, strength and conditioning type of background. So he is also a head coach strength and conditioning for a local swim club. And then lastly, this is Jordan, who I was referring to earlier. Took a chances with the forces, he's now the manager of fitness for sports and recreation in the western part of Canada. So he was in the 2013-2014 year, got a job literally before he even graduated, which is often what happens with a good amount of our students. They have jobs before they are done, lined up. He had that job, took that chance, and 10 years later, he is at the manager. He's been at the manager level for within more than 5 years now. But yes, he is an example of just, some great opportunities. So he did take a deployment and went to Kuwait and was working with the troops there a while ago. So many different directions you can go with this. These are just examples of people from high-level athletes to working with our forces, just a bunch of great career opportunities. All right, so I will let our two students go. I'm going to mumble about, you can stay if you want, but I'm going to go into the sports and nutrition program and as another sort of option for people who potentially want to get into more the sports side, but maybe have more of a strictly nutrition desire. So I'll talk about this program. So Nutrition for Sport and Performance is also a postgraduate program. It was really designed for people who already have a nutrition sort of experience. So registered dietitians, people who have that nutrition background, but maybe didn't get to specialize in sports nutrition. So it allows these people to get a more in-depth, hands-on sort of knowledge of working with athletes. Similar background, having a bachelor degree. They also do allow people with a diploma degree. So for example, our Niagara College Fitness and Health Diploma students can apply for this. So they have made that modification to their requirements. But yes, you need to have some formal education to get into this program. So some highlights, it is a different type of program. This program, COVID or not, this is an online program. So it was designed that way because a lot of the people who take this program are working full time. They don't want to give up their registered dietitian job. They just want this extra experience. So it is a fully online course until May hits. So you do sort of the normal school year online. It's designed in modules. And then for the first week of May, they had this really cool opportunity where they come to our Culinary Institute at Niagara College. And it's a 1-week intensive sort of putting those nutrition things. They actually work with the chefs and they learn how to provide sort of one-on-one nutrition counseling, as well as meal planning, meal prep for a potential client. So it's a great sort of capstone project where they're now coming and learning, how to in the Culinary Institute. So hybrid delivery, as I mentioned, so the first 28 weeks of the program are fully online. So you don't need to be in the Niagara region. You can do it anywhere. And then you come for that 1 week. There are resident accommodations since school term has technically ended. They open up the residence for these students to take advantage of at our Niagara on the Lake campus. So they can stay there for that week. And the course, as I mentioned, is developed or designed to run in a module type of format. So unlike the exercise science where it's the 7-1-7, these are more like 3 weeks of one course, intensive module, week break, another module 3 weeks. So you get the same amount of courses, but you focus on one for 3 weeks. And that's, again, because it's online, it just allows the learner to go at their own pace. So it's not like for those 3 weeks, you have to log in to this class at this time. It's like, here's your material, you do it at your own pace. There's an exam at the end, take a break and move on to the next course. So the courses that are in this program, so exercise physiology of nutrition, nutrition assessment, looking at some contemporary issues in terms of nutrition, bad diets, those types of things. Performance nutrition for more the special populations, like how do we do nutrition for a young athlete or an older population? And then sort of some counseling and communication type of skills. And in the winter, it gets into more, now they have the foundation into the high level periodization of nutrition for athletes, working, meal planning, doing more culinary prep, ergogenic aids and the effect of those on the athlete, and then getting into your actual practicum in that 1 week intensive opportunity. Some career opportunities where some of these students end up. Most of them, like I said, maybe already working as registered dietitians, but this allows them to maybe get some other sort of opportunities within fitness centers, health coaching type of things, sports and performance facilities, or just working more with the private, an athlete in a more of a private type of facility. So that is it for the 2 programs. So they are both postgraduate programs, very different. And, one is very strictly nutrition focused. The other one is a more broad range, getting you ready to work with athletes or general population in a wide variety of skills. So myself, that's my contact information if you have any questions about the Exercise Science for Health and Performance program. If you have questions about the Nutrition for Sports Performance program, Adam Upshaw is the coordinator of that. So his email is there for you if you need to contact him about any questions specifically about that program. All right, thank you for attending, everyone.